Hello and welcome to The Journey, WCTV's only faith-based program. I'm your host, Drew Rhea. Over the course of the semester, we are going to walk with students through their daily lives and take a look at how faith impacts them. Also, we will follow along with students and how they serve through both faith and the community of Waynesburg. Please, take a half hour, sit down, and relax with us as we go on a journey with students, staff, and residents of Waynesburg.
Welcome to Watch This. I'm Brennan Rossi.
And I'm Chris Hulse.
On this show, we look at all of the national movies and TV shows that are making shockwaves throughout the society.
Join us as we review and preview Hollywood's best and worst.
On Watch This.
Today we will sit down with students that traveled to Bon Air over the winter break to help serve in their field of study. Many of the people joining us through the next half hour are communication majors here at Waynesburg, and were able to serve at Transworld Radio, otherwise known as TWR, a Christian radio station in Bon Air. Our first guests today are journalism major Sierra Medina, news director of WCTV and WCYJ-FM Emily Bennett, and our boss, the general manager of WCTV, Paul Zalakar. Let's start with Paul. Paul, what led you to Waynesburg University, and more specifically, the comm department here?
Well, in high school, I worked a lot with the TV production in high school, so I definitely wanted to continue on that path. And when I came to Waynesburg, I saw that the production in these shows are something that I wanted to be a part of, and I also like the small school aspect of it, so I'm a big fan of the choice, and I'm very happy where I'm at right now.
That's good. Sierra, what led you here?
I was actually not sure where I wanted to go to college, and I hadn't applied anywhere, and a Waynesburg flyer just happened into my sister's hands and she showed it to me, and I visited, and it just felt like home, and the comm department felt like home immediately.
That's good. Emily?
I had a very similar experience. My future roommate actually ended up telling me about it, and we were like joking around like, oh, we could end up at Waynesburg together and room together. We've been friends for years. And then guess what? That happened. I stepped on this campus and came up on this floor, and I just never wanted to leave, and I knew that this was the place for me. And I went to the sports announcing camp, and the rest is history.
All right, so now that we have all of you here, from there, Sierra, what experience stood out to you most about the Bon Air trip?
So as a journalism major, I got to work on the newsletter with Emily, and I got to interview the Helmholtz, which was the newest missionary family on the base there, and it was super cool. I went back to their house, and I just interviewed them for over half an hour, and I just got to hear their story and the children's perspective, and I love that, applying my major to the missions trip.
That's awesome. Emily?
Oh yeah, like what stands out is I have gone to Bon Air twice now, and I really wanted to go again. Just the atmosphere, just going to that studio and seeing how they work together, just seeing their faith through everything that they do and how much they love what they do. And it's purely mission-based, like they raise their own salaries, like it's not exactly the easiest thing to do. They work really hard, and they're just so nice there, and they love the work they do. And I got to work on the newsletter last year and this year, and I just got to read all these listener stories about what they do, and they broadcast to now 100 million people, which is absolutely unreal. And they reach people in Cuba that it's pretty dangerous to send missionaries to Cuba, but all these Cuban people get to hear the Christian broadcasting that they send out, and it is literally life-changing. And I can say, like, I definitely started crying reading these testimonies, and just being able to be a part of that, that's definitely why I had wanted to go back a second time.
So Paul, what stood out to you the most?
Well, definitely just the work environment was very friendly. Everyone there got along very well, and I feel like working in radio, you have to have a bubbly personality, and they were very appreciative of our work. We were appreciative of coming there and them letting us help them and do God's work in their mission. And overall, just the island itself, it's a one-in-a-life experience, and maybe not a lot of people have heard of Bon Air, but the fact that we were able to go there, it was definitely a life-changing experience.
That's good. So Emily, what aspect of the trip sort of stuck with you as you started another semester here at Waynesburg. What was really like inspiring to you, coming back and being reintroduced to this community?
I love Bonaire so much. I would literally go back anytime. The island, obviously, as Paul said, is absolutely amazing. It's part of the ABC Islands. Everyone knows Aruba, but people don't know Bonaire. The island, of course, sticks with you, especially when it's literally negative degrees outside and it's 90 and sunny and gorgeous there. But the island is such a community, and everyone is just super friendly and just getting along. And the cruise ships come to town and the island comes to life. But just the work at TWR, obviously we work on radio here, but it's a little different. Obviously we just broadcast to the community, but we always can think about what sticks with me, especially as I'm 3 months away from graduation. We always we get so immersed here with our careers, and we're just doing, we have to do this show, we have to do this show. We don't really think about why we're doing it. And when you go down to Bonaire and you are working, and these people are working radio like we do every day, but they're working for such a good cause and bringing more people to Christ. And it just makes me really think about what I want to do in my life with my career. Like, not just, I want to be on the news someday, but like, how can that affect people? How can I really make a difference in the world? So that's kind of what I'm really thinking about now, coming back from Bonaire, as I'm starting to go out into the real world, as we say.
Paul, how about you?
I just think that it's awesome to see the lifestyle of some of the missionaries and some of the workers there. Some people were coming from Venezuela and having to make money to give back to their families. And then some of the people there, it's interesting because they have a very unique language. They do have a good connection of speaking English, but the fact that they were Spaniards there, they had a little bit of a Creole mix as well. So it's a very unique culture down in Bonaire. And yeah, even the people that were on site working, we were to talk to them and see what they did outside of work, and they were out going and hunting lobster and just going deep sea diving, which is a huge part of Bonaire. And so just being immersed in that culture, it's unreal.
Sierra?
Oh yes, it's beautiful. 1,000 steps. This one place was just breathtaking. But I found out that I'm a minor in biblical studies as well, and I just found out that I can just marry my love of God and faith with my job. I hadn't really thought about like brand journalism, basically PR for like missions and nonprofit. And I thought it was really cool to see Marietta, who's somewhat in charge of like marketing there, I think, and just seeing her, she's just so happy. She just loves what she does, and I would honestly love to have a position like hers, and I definitely want to come back.
So you guys all went on this trip together. What really stood out to you as far as sort of bringing everyone together while they were on the trip? Was there one certain bonding moment, or was it sort of over the course of the trip that everyone sort of grew together?
I think for certain that the fact that we're all this pretty much the same communication major, we already have a base, a foundation of a relationship with one another. Obviously, some people knew each other more than others, but the fact that we're living under the same roof and that we're cooking our own meals, that's just another aspect to just taking on a whole bunch of new roommates. And so it was a good bonding experience for not only just with each other, but also with the two professors that I went with, Dr. Sherman and Melinda Roeder. So overall, we definitely bonded really well. We had some downtime to play games, do some traveling, do some island tours, go to a donkey sanctuary and just get it invaded by donkeys, which was quite an experience in itself. But yeah, there was lots of opportunities that you definitely might have not been in your comfort zone. You might have been in your comfort zone, but everyone was there and supporting you.
Sierra?
Yeah, one of my favorite times of the day was at the end of the day. We were all tired, and we would just take our showers, and then we'd sit out in the living room and just ask questions and just learn about each other and laugh, and embarrassing moments, and it was so much fun.
All right, well, thank you guys for joining us today. Coming up next on The Journey, 3 more students that went to Bonaire will join us. Stay tuned. You're watching The Journey.
You're watching The Buzz, your place for all things Waynesburg. I'm Lindsay Stinger, your campus news host.
My name is Brian Bauer.
I'm Andrew Sloboda, your entertainment host.
My name is Corey Tretinik, and I'm here with this week's entertainment news.
next time to find out what's buzzing on campus. And remember, it's all of your beeswax.
It's all of your beeswax. Remember, it's all of your beeswax.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
Welcome back to The Journey. I'm Drew Rhea. Sitting in now to share more about Bon Air, our Assistant General Manager of WCTV, Megan Cook, as well as 2 non-communication major students, nursing major Christina Fisher and Biblical Ministry Studies student Stephanie Rogers. Ladies, thank you for stopping by with us today. So let's just start with what led you to Waynesburg University and more specifically your major.
Well, I actually did an internet search and I found Waynesburg because of my major. I'm children and youth ministry. So I just decided to come out here, and I really loved the small campus. I came from a huge high school, so just having the community here was great.
That's good. Christina?
So I'm a nursing major, and Waynesburg, one of the things we're kind of known for is our nursing department. It's definitely a very, very hard nursing program, but our placement rates are excellent, and we'll graduate and we'll be kind of a step above everyone else. And I wanted that good experience, so when I get out in the real world, you know, I'm ready.
That's good. Megan?
I decided on communication first and then kind of narrowing it down from there, and kind of one of the reasons why I chose Waynesburg was actually the experience to go to Los Angeles, and it was a good choice, so I'm glad.
That's good. So now focusing more on Bon Air, what stood out to you most about the trip in general?
I think what stood out to me the most was the radio component. My dad has been in radio for over 40 years, and I have a little bit of experience with it, and it was nice to combine what I'm majoring in with something that I've grown up with my whole life.
That's good.
So for me, the trip was a little bit different than anything I'm used to. You know, I'm so like nursing. So it was so wonderful for me to be able to remove myself from, you know, the nursing department and the nursing student life, and, you know, just immerse myself in a completely different culture, you know, communications, you know, working with the students that are comm students, and just how welcoming everybody was. Everybody was so welcoming, and we really did form a little family, and that to me just stood out, and I'll always keep that with me.
That's good.
As a communication major, this is kind of like the comm service trip, and I've kind of wanted to go every year, and something has always stopped me. I was in LA, I was a freshman and sophomore that I didn't think I was going to go. But I'm really glad I did end up going, and I think that it was a really good year to go, and I think especially, we all kind of meshed, but especially the girls. I thought it was really kind of a cool experience that, like, even people I wasn't as close with, we kind of like built this thing and we're serving all together, and it was a good experience.
That's good. So we've heard a lot about, you know, all the hard work you guys did while you were there. What were some of the more fun moments, some of the, you know, relaxed downtime moments that you'd like to share?
Oh, gosh. Well, I've been 4 times. This was my 4th year. But this trip was definitely memorable just because of the downtime. Just the conversations that we've had with Dr. Sherman and Melinda are great. But I think the one thing that stood out was Melinda teaching us how to do the proper stance for photos. That was just so funny. And it was actually really helpful. So that was my favorite part.
Definitely, again, being with everyone and just the camaraderie that we have. But for me, one of my favorite moments was definitely snorkeling. When I stuck my face in the water and saw it, I cried. I shed a tear. I was like, wow, I'd never seen, you know, a coral reef like that before. And for me, it was just amazing. I just felt so puny and small, you know what I mean? Just like immersing myself in that. I was like, oh my goodness. So that, to me, was probably one of my favorite moments of the downtime. But
to be honest, I love to use the downtime to experience the island. So obviously the snorkeling, I had never seen the water so clear. Bon Air has been the farthest south that I have been, and the water was so clear, and I had my case for my phone, I can take it underwater, so I got some really neat photos and everything like that. And I know you guys didn't go this year, but Steph, you've gone in the past to the donkey sanctuary, and there are hundreds of wild donkeys on the island, and they also have a sanctuary there that all of these donkeys are there, and they're very friendly. They kind of like crowd you and everything, but we fed them some carrots, and it was a really cool time to kind of experience something that, I mean, Waynesburg doesn't have all these donkeys roaming around, so and we can't go snorkeling, especially when it's negative degrees. But it was a really cool experience because it's something most of us haven't really done.
Mm-hmm. So as you now have come back to Waynesburg, what part of the trip sort of stuck with you as you started this new semester?
One thing that stuck with me was we actually have a Snapchat group message all together.
Okay.
All the girls do, and it's just funny to just send somebody a message saying, "Oh, I'm just thinking about Bon Air today. I miss you guys." Like, that's something that's really nice. We also have a Twitter page where we just talk about like our experience in Bon Air, just some memorable quotes that we've had with everybody else, and then the professors that went. Those are like the two things, and then lots of pictures. Obviously, lots of pictures are hanging up everywhere.
That's good.
I think starting my last semester here at Waynesburg, that was definitely the best way I could imagine starting a semester. So something that's definitely stuck with me was just the fact that, I have formed new friendships that I will hold with me forever. And definitely just the fact that I was able to start my semester giving back to an organization that does so much for other people. That to me is something very special. And if we, were able to do something to help them help others, I think that's something that I'll definitely, have with me and hold with me forever. But that to me is definitely something that stuck with me.
I think definitely like the learning aspects of this trip too, because honestly, the only reason why I know about Bon Air is because of this department and every year that they do the service trip there. But it's this really tiny island, and I mean the only thing, like the most that people know about is Aruba's nearby, and Venezuela is kind of a couple miles from there as well. And the fact that they have this transmitter site there that broadcasts like into Cuba, into different parts of South America, it's just so powerful that they have this opportunity there, and that it's coming from this really, really tiny island that nobody's really heard of.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool that we can bring that back, and then we're kind of stewards of that we can share that, hey, I went to this really tiny island and they're doing all this cool stuff, and they have an app and everything, so it's not kind of only Central America. Anybody can go on and listen to it, and I think that's really kind of cool.
That's good. So this is sort of for the whole group. With the recent negative temperatures, how has the adjustment been going from what seems like paradise now to back to good old Waynesburg, Pennsylvania weather?
It's been rough. I'm not even gonna lie, it's been rough.
Not thriving.
Oh, not thriving.
Not thriving at all.
Oh, my skin's cracked and bleeding. It's cold. That is the worst. I miss that warm sun.
I feel like that's a lot of comments in our group messages. Just, hey, remember when we were in Bon Air and it wasn't cold and we were still together, but in a much warmer place.
Well, it certainly seems like everyone that went had a very good time and got a lot of important work done. I think that's really been highlighted in both groups that we've talked to today. So we'd like to thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to speak with us. Don't touch that dial. You're watching The Journey.
Look at me. Hey.
Raymond, look at Mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe he can't hear us. Maybe we're not stimulating him enough. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
Oh, look, a redhead. Staring contest. You still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest.
The dad was cute.
They were looking right at us. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Welcome back to The Journey. Now it is time for our word of encouragement for this episode. Today, we have heard from students who were called to service through their field of study, all of which have their own story about how they found their major and Waynesburg. Psalms chapter 9, verse 10 tells us, "Those who know your name in you, for you, Lord, have never forsaken those who seek you. Sometimes the Lord has a plan and a funny way of leading us to where He wants us to be, and also shaping us into the people He created us to be. I myself was lucky enough to find my calling to communication early in my high school career. However, some people take a completely different route. Joe Starkey, radio host on 93.7 The Fan and professor here at Waynesburg University, told our profile and feature writing class that he didn't have his first job until he was 29. His journey was a long one of hard work and trust. Many people are put on the spot to know exactly what they want to do during college. This can get exhausting and put unnecessary stress on a college student. Instead of focusing so much on the destination, put trust in God that He will lead you to where you need to be, and allow yourself to be present for the journey. I always knew I wanted to study communication, but I had no idea where I wanted to go. Instead of worrying about where I was going to go to school, I trusted that the Lord would put me in the right direction. 2 years later, here I am, getting the opportunity of a lifetime to practice communication in all of its forms here at Waynesburg University. It's almost never the route you would take, but if you put trust in Him, God will lead you to places you would never think of. All you have to do is trust in Him and enjoy the journey. We want to thank you for watching this episode of The Journey. Join us in a few weeks when we go on another faith and service-based journey. I'm Drew Ria. We'll see you next time.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.